Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. I can't believe it's almost 4th of July and I really don't have any cards yet. I donate cards to a local retirement home and I need 55 this year. So I decided to pull out Bella Blvd's Fireworks and Freedom 12x12 collection kit. This is an older collection and I don't believe it's available any longer. I also have some of their ephemera packs. I have the ephemera words and the ephemera icons. If I can find the collection, I will add a link in the description box below. Let's go ahead and get started with card design number 1. This is a very simple card design. I'm using some of the cut aparts that are included in the collection. This is a 3x4 inch cut apart. I have some fun star paper for the background. I'll add a couple of Love from Lizi peel-offs. These are the silver holographic color. They're super sparkly. And I'm just putting 3 of them along the back at a diagonal. Now for that first strip, I did use the full piece, so I want to make sure to get them nice and straight. But for the other 2, I'm just using some little scraps. Since you're not going to see that middle section, it'll be covered up with the cut apart. I'll add some ATG tape to the back and layer this on some dark blue cardstock. And then I'll put my card front onto a card base. And I will be making multiple cards of each design, but I'm only showing the process of assembling one. Decided I will pop up this whole panel using some foam dimensional tape. Since I won't be mailing the cards, I'll be hand delivering them to the retirement home. I can add lots of dimension, so that's always nice. Now the cards are considered happy mail for the residents, so I will write a message inside of every card. Then I'll drop off all of the cards to the front desk and the staff will be the ones to pass them out to all the residents. I just want a little something to brighten their day. To finish off the card, I'm adding some Love from Lizi peel-offs. These are the mini star in the silver glitter color, just to add a little extra sparkle. So there's my finished card and I made a total of 6 using this design. I just used some different cut aparts for the other cards. I've purchased this collection at least twice. It's one of my favorite patriotic collections, and I will admit I did not love any of the new patriotic collections that were released this year, so I didn't buy any. Moving on to card design number 2, have some fun firework paper for the background, and then I'm using these border dies from Jaded Blossom. So it's this little wavy line. There's a wider and then a really narrow piece. And it has this fun stitch detail along the edge. Put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere them to the lower portion of the card. And I'm trying to get them nice and straight by lining the paper up on my craft mat. So now I'll adhere that second piece. And you could stack those 2 border die cuts together. They do match up nicely, but I decided to leave just that little gap between them. I'll flip over this panel, use my scissors and trim off the extra. I'll put ATG tape on the back and adhere this panel onto some dark blue cardstock. I think I used dark blue cardstock for all of the cards this time. Put my card front onto a card base. I'll leave that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. And I believe all of my cardstock layers this time are an additional 1/8 of an inch. So I have another cut apart. This is one of the 2x2 cut aparts, so Fireworks and Freedom. And I added that onto a scallop square die cut. This is from Honeybee Stamps. Pop that up with some foam tape and adhere it to the center of the card. And for a finishing touch, I'm adding a couple of these stitched stars. And these are from Jaded Blossom's banner die set. Decided just to use the little stars, and I cut them out from some beautiful iridescent cardstock from Tonic Studios. So there is my finished card, and I made a total of 12 this time. I have 3 different cut aparts that I used, and I had 4 of each cut apart. Most of my cards this time are fairly simple, but I like to find those little extra touches to step them up. Little iridescent cardstock, maybe some glitter peel-offs, just those little extra things. Now moving on to card design number 3, I will be using a card sketch. This is MFT number 546. Since I've used this paper collection several times, I have lots of small paper scraps. I thought this sketch would be perfect to use up some of those scraps. I used a stitch circle die from Sunny Studio and cut out all of these little circles. I'll just adhere them to the card with some liquid adhesive. And the very outside 4 circles will go off the edge just a little bit. And once those are all glued down, I can flip over that panel and trim off the extra. So I did end up making quite a few of this style. I just grabbed all of those scraps, the circle die, and just started cutting out circles. So I'll trim away the extra, then I can layer this panel on some dark blue cardstock and that red background paper with the little lines and there's polka dots on the other side. This is from one of Bella Blvd's Besties collection. I think that's what they're called. The colors match perfectly, so I thought I would use the red, but I did also make some with the white, blue, and a light teal background as well. So I'm layering this on some white shimmer cardstock. So you can see just a little more of that border along the outside, and then I adhere my card front onto a card base. Now I'm using some fun letters from Memory Box. These have a wooden design on them, and I cut them out from some craft cardstock. Also popping them up using some foam tape, and these are little thin strips from scrapbook.com. Makes it super easy when you're trying to pop up a very narrow piece. So I'll adhere the USA to the center of the card. I think the craft really works well with the red, white, and blue. The foam strips do have adhesive on both sides. For some reason, 2 of the release papers were missing on my S after I had this just sitting there. So I did add a little bit of liquid adhesive just to make sure it was going to stay in place. For a finishing touch, I'm adding some pretty sparkly stars. I've had these forever. I don't even know where I bought them. I think they're made by Sticko. But I love the red, white, and blue, so I thought those would work perfectly. So there's my finished card, and I ended up making a total of 13 cards using this design. If you watch my videos, you know I love new products that are always being released, but sometimes it's nice to use up things that are just sitting around in your craft room. So this was fun to use up some of those stickers and some older patriotic papers. For my next 5 card designs, I'll be using the card layer dies from Jaded Blossom. I have set 1 and 2. Now they just released a version B of both of these dies, and what it is the reverse of the current die. So you'll be able to have more options with your card designs. I currently only have the little printout, but I do have the new dies on their way, so I can't wait to receive those. So here you can see the 2 side by side, and they're just a mirror image. And here's die number 2. You can see that same mirror image with the 2 different dies. Now the whole concept behind the card layer dies is you use a 6x6 sheet of pattern paper and this die, and it'll cut out 6 different pieces that you can mix and match to create a variety of different card designs. Now you can still use it with 12x12 paper. I did go and cut down 6 of the patterns to a 6x6 sheet. So you can see that die, and it'll leave just that little bit of a border around the outside. So you can still add a piece of washi tape to tape down the die to the pattern paper so it doesn't move inside your die cut machine. I used die 1 for 3 of the pattern papers and then die 2 for the other 3. So now I have this fun assortment of pieces in 6 different pattern papers, and now I'll create 5 different card designs using those pieces. I'm also bringing in some craft cardstock for the background. So I have this little stripe paper for the bottom, or actually be on the side. I put some holographic peel-offs along the edge. I didn't need a full strip since I will be covering up that center. Put my card front onto a card base. And I have 2 more of those die cut pieces, a thin banner and then this wider banner. So I'm going to put some liquid adhesive on the back of this star paper. And then that tone-on-tone flower banner, I will adhere to the left of that larger banner. And I'll have that red banner over just the very edge of that red star pattern paper. Now I'll bring in one of the ephemera pieces. The sentiment is Fireworks and Freedom. I'll pop this up using some foam tape. And then I'll adhere it to the left on top of those 2 banners. Then to finish off the card, I'll bring in the mini star peel-offs in the silver glitter color. I'll be using this one quite a bit. I'll put 3 in the lower right hand corner and then 2 teeny tiny stars around the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and I did make 3 using this design. So you can see how I have those same die cut pieces, but I use different pattern papers. The more pattern paper pieces that you use with this die, the more variety you'll have. And using a collection, you'll know that most of those papers will all coordinate together. So moving on to card design number 5. So this time I have the stitched triangles and 2 of the thin banners. And I decided to use the same pattern paper with both of those triangles. I'll adhere them to the craft cardstock. Now all of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, so 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. But even if you make other card sizes, like 5 by 7, there's an A4 a size as well, I'm not sure, you could still use this die set. You'll just have to modify and create your own card designs for that size card. So I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. I had a little bit of ATG sticking out on the side, so I was trying to wipe that away. For the 2 banners, I'll overlap them and I will be trimming off the very end. Bring in another ephemera piece, this beautiful flower assortment in a vase. I'll pop that up with some foam tape. I'll remove the release paper and adhere it to the lower right hand corner. Even after making this set of cards, I still have a ton of the 12 by 12 paper left, although I don't have a lot of the ephemera. So I'm going to trim down those 2 banners. I just used my scissors and cut the top, hoping to get them straight. Before adhering the 2 banners down, I will add a scrap piece of pattern paper where it goes off of that red pattern paper. Otherwise, there'll be a noticeable dip on the front of the card. I'll adhere the red star banner down first and then add the blue pattern paper with the stars to the right, just offsetting them slightly. Then for a sentiment, I'm using another ephemera piece. This is God Bless the USA. It did have a fishtail on the one side, but I decided to trim that off. And I'll adhere it right on top of the jar, little mason jar. I'll put some foam tape on the outside edges where it goes off of that jar. And I'll also add just that small scrap of paper. That way it'll be at the same level. I'll put some liquid adhesive in the center and adhere it, trying to get it nice and straight. Then to finish off the card, I'm bringing in some old bling. I've had this forever. They're just some clear rhinestones. And because they're fairly old, I am going to add a drop of liquid adhesive as well, just to make sure they're not going to pop off later. So I'll put 2 of them to the right of that vase and 1 above to the left. So there's my finished card. Again, I did make 3 using this design. The other 2 designs are slightly different. I made them horizontal, added the blue United States and a few of the stickers from that 12 by 12 collection. I also added a few more of the mini star peel-offs. Thought they looked really pretty around the hearts on the United States. Now moving on to card design number 6. I have 2 more of the die cut pieces and I'll be adhering them to the side of the card. This is fairly similar to one of the card designs. Then I'll add this wider stripe piece. Now all of these dies do have that faux stitch detail along the edge. I am covering up just that top part where the 2 pieces meet. Then I'll adhere my card panel onto some dark blue cardstock. Put my card front onto a card base, and this will be a horizontal card. Then I'll bring in a few of the ephemera pieces, and I've already added the foam tape to the back side just to save on time. So I have this red truck that's filled with patriotic stars, and then the sentiment is red, white, and blue. I'll remove the release paper and adhere the truck to the center of the card, and then do the same with the sentiment. Now I used some thin foam squares for the sentiment so it's not popped up quite as thick as the truck. Then finishing touch, I'm bringing in that 12 by 12 sticker sheet. I haven't used very many of the stickers, but I do like the two little stars, so I decided to put those in the upper left-hand corner. And then I'll also add some more of the peel-offs, the little mini stars in the silver glitter. I'll put one on both sides of the sentiment and then just a few around those stars in the upper left-hand corner. So there is my finished card. I do have 3 using this design. The third card I made a vertical card. So it's still that same style, just modified it slightly using the ephemera pieces that I have on hand. I also added a stitch circle die cut for the vertical card so that firework would stand out a little bit more. And I don't know if you've noticed yet, but I haven't used a single stamp set, and I won't for any of the cards in this video. So moving on to card design number 7, I just have 2 of those die cut pieces. I have some craft cardstock for the background. I'm adding 2 of the holographic peel-offs to the upper portion. I'm using my craft mat to make sure to get those nice and straight. And I do cut my peel-offs a little wider, and then I just wrap the ends around the back just to make sure they're going to stay in place. So I'll layer that piece on some dark blue cardstock and then add my card front to a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Now for those 2 pieces, I'll be adhering them to the upper left-hand corner. I'll start with this blue graph tone-on-tone paper and then add this stripe paper on top, just offsetting it slightly. Then I'll bring in some ephemera pieces. I decided to add 2 of the fireworks. I already put some foam dimension on the back. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to position them in that lower right-hand corner. I'll have the smaller firework overlap the larger one just a little bit. I also have 2 of the ephemera sentiments, so it'll be fireworks and freedom. Pop those up using some foam tape. And then to finish off the card, I'll add some more of the mini star peel-offs in the silver glitter color, just sprinkling them around the fireworks in that lower right-hand corner. So super simple card. Just have those 2 small pieces of pattern paper and lots of ephemera. So there's the finished card, and here are the other 2 designs. Very similar card designs. I just used some different ephemera pieces for the image and also the sentiment, but I still brought in those silver mini star peel-offs. So moving on to card design number 8. So this is the final card design, and I'm using the last of those die cut pieces from the card layer dies. So I just have these 2 small pieces. I'll be using some of the pattern paper for the background instead of the craft cardstock this time. So I have the star paper, adding some of the red, white, and blue plaid, just that 2-inch strip. Also using some Love from Lizi peel-offs. This is a red mirror color. It matches beautifully with the red in the pattern paper. I'm using the widest width peel-off and putting it along the edge of that plaid paper. I'll put some ATG tape on the back and adhere this panel onto some dark blue cardstock. I'll add ATG tape and put my card front onto a card base. Again, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For that blue banner, I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the upper left-hand corner. Now for this flower pocket looking die, first I'm going to adhere this Independence ephemera piece. It looks like a little tab. I decided to have it on the back of this pocket so it looks like it's coming out of the pocket. And then I'll pop up this whole piece using some foam tape. I'm not showing it in the video, but I will be adding a stamped sentiment to the inside of all of the cards. It'll probably be one that says 4th of July or something similar, and then I'll add my handwritten message. Using another ephemera piece, there's this star with a star design on it. I'm going to pop it up using some thin foam squares and adhere it to the center of that pocket. So you can add lots of dimension and it doesn't make a difference since I'm hand delivering them. Then I'll bring in those clear rhinestones, add 2 of them to the upper left-hand corner and then 3 in the lower right-hand corner. This bling is so old, I really had to dig my nail underneath to get it to release from that plastic backing. So there's my finished card along with the other 2 using that same design. And it's nice I had enough of the ephemera pieces to add a little sentiment in each of the pockets. And for one of the cards I used some blue rhinestones instead of the clear, but both of them are just as old. It's that same brand. Now here's just a quick recap of the 46 cards I made using Bella Blvd's Fireworks Freedom 12x12 paper collection. I also used Jaded Blossom's card layer dies for 15 of the cards. I did 5 different designs using those dies. And I know I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I need 55 cards, not 46, but I found 9 cards left over from last year, so now I'm set for the year. Of course, that means I don't have any extra for next year. Maybe I'll do some more patriotic cards just to have a few ready, since I always love using patriotic colors. This is an older paper collection and I don't believe it's available any longer. If I can find a link, I will add it in the description box below. But I do have a link for the Jaded Blossom Card Layer dies if you are interested in those. I absolutely love them. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.